What's up, everybody? It's me, the Paleo Giant, and today we're making spicy honey barbecue wings with oven roasted zucchini and squash fries. And today I have a treat for you guys. We're going to be making our own spicy honey barbecue sauce. Not none of the store-bought stuff. We're going to make our own. Let's get it.
All right, let's get it. So what we have here, I have my small saucepan. I have my oven preheating at 420. I also have my air fryer preheating at 390. I have my saucepan that's been preheating for a minute now. So what I'm gonna do right now is go ahead and try to get this tomato paste in here. And the tomato paste I chose was actually a no salt added organic tomato paste. And I'm gonna attempt to open this can like everyone has been saying is the right way to open up a can nowadays. But I'm gonna be honest with you, off camera it took me 3 minutes to try to do that and it did not work. So either it was a can opener or it was me. So I just opened the can like I normally did or normally have done for most of my life. As soon as I put the tomato paste in, it started to cook. And that's because I did preheat, and that is completely fine. The color on the bottom of the pan and the smoke that's coming from the saucepan are not because I'm burning the tomato paste. That is actually the steam from the water that is in the tomato paste, and that is the sugars cooking faster than I want them to, but they are not burning. Throughout this whole mixture, I add approximately 3 to 4 ounces of water to this barbecue sauce that we're making, the spicy honey barbecue sauce that we're making. Have some water on standby if you want your sauce to be thinner. After adding water, I'm going to stir constantly to make this into a less of a paste and more of a sauce, a very thick sauce. At that point, I've added about 2 ounces of water. Now I'm gonna add my 3 ounces of honey, and I use organic honey. You can use whatever honey that you find available. You can also use organic coconut sugar, which will actually deepen the color of the sauce, because in the end the sauce is gonna be red. It's gonna be a red barbecue sauce rather than what you are used to as being a dark brown barbecue sauce. So all I'm doing here is just incorporating all those ingredients, the water, the tomato paste, and the honey. Nothing too fancy. Just continue to mix it up over the heat so that everything melts down, everything molds together, everything combines. I'm gonna take a taste and see how much seasoning I need to add. It is very sweet, so I go ahead and add my smoked paprika. I go ahead and add my red pepper flakes, and I mix it. Again, we're just mixing all these ingredients as well as possible. And there I go, leaving the utensil inside of the pot. I have a really bad habit of doing that. I do need to stop. So here I am adding the rest of the 4 ounces of water that I'm using in this sauce recipe. Mix really well. You know, the best thing about making your own barbecue sauce is it's the fact that you know exactly what you're putting in that sauce. You know exactly what is inside of it. Wouldn't you agree? I think most people would. So throughout the process of making my sauce, you will see me constantly tasting and moving around the sauce to check the consistency. Remember, one of the most important parts of cooking is tasting the food that you cook. And that doesn't change because you're making a barbecue sauce. Also, watch out for this. Turn the heat down if your sauce is shooting pockets of air or steam at you. It can and will burn you. Please be careful. Like that, did you see that? It almost hit me in the face. Be careful. So at this point, my sauce is done. You'll see me continue to mix it. Nice. I love the texture on this. I'm gonna keep looking at this. This is beautiful. Look at this, nice and smooth. That's the texture I was looking for my sauce. I'm gonna take one final taste before I go to cut my zucchini and my squash. And here I'm just cutting off the ends of my zucchini and my squash. Pretty much prepping them ready to be cut into fries that are gonna be roasted in the oven. Now I want you all to know that these scraps or these pieces of the zucchini and squash are not going to waste. I will be cutting these down and to smaller pieces and giving them to my chickens. This part pretty much speaks for itself. So first, we're gonna cut the zucchini in half horizontally, and then we're gonna cut it in half vertically, and then we're gonna cut it in half vertically 2 more times to get our fries. The key here is to take your time. You do not have to rush to cut the zucchini. You do not have to rush to cut the squash. Take your time, be safe, and do it right the first time so you don't get hurt. I got a fun fact for you. Actually, I got a 2-for-1 fun fact for you. Zucchini is the only fruit that begins with a Z. And by the way, zucchini is a fruit. And this, what I'm about to show you, is not the right way to cut and make these fries. Do not stand up one of these squash and try to cut them like this. This is incredibly dangerous. The pressure that you have to put to cut all the way down, you can easily slip and hurt yourself. I'm only showing it this way because I've seen people cut food this way. Do not do this. This is not safe. Even though I was trying to find a safer way to do this in an unsafe scenario, I would not be doing this again. It is very unsafe, and I like my fingers. Now that our squash and zucchini fries have been cut to size, I'm now going to add them to a glass baking dish that is lined with parchment paper. The only reason why I'm adding parchment paper as a liner to my glass baking dish is because when I cook, my wife washes the dishes and I try to help her out as much as possible by making my dishes easier to clean. When I do things like that, I like to think of myself as a hero. Now I'm going to add about 1.5 to 2 tablespoons of avocado oil. And this is going to play a key factor in making our fries. It's going to help the fries actually crisp up on the outside like we want them to, but also keep the texture on the inside. And here is my mixture with the Bragg seasoning and salt. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that the zucchini and the squash fries are evenly coated with the avocado oil. Just get in there with your hands. Don't be afraid. They're just vegetables. At this point, this is when I noticed that my baking dish that I have here is not large enough to roast my squash and zucchini fries. So I go and find me another baking dish. Before I add my surplus of squash and zucchini fries to my other baking dish, I go ahead and add the seasoning mixture that I made, which you can find on my blog. This step is really important. I am actually taking my time and making sure that my seasoned mixture that I made is getting evenly coated over the top layer and kind of in the crevices of my squash and zucchini fries, because I want a consistent flavor no matter if they're in 2 different baking dishes. Then I go on to mix. Right here, I am turning over my squash and zucchini fries. I want the skin side to be down. So the green and yellow, I want that to be down on the dish, because if you have the meat or the inside of the zucchini or squash down on the dish, it kind of loses its integrity when you take it out of the pan and add it to your plate. It becomes more floppy to say the least. Take great care into making sure that they don't overlap each other. When they overlap, the one underneath doesn't get cooked as consistently as the one above it. And remember, we're going to be putting these under the broiler also, just to get that extra char on the top. I put these in the oven at 420 degrees for 15 to 25 minutes. After 10 minutes, I recommend you check on them to make sure they are not burning and they are cooking consistently. Now with the power of editing, I'm going to try this editing trick and see if it works. 1, 2, 3. Holy crap, it worked. It was cool. Wow. A part of prepping for this video, I pre-cut all my chicken wings. So only left one so I can show you guys how I do it. So this is how I do it. I cut a slit into the skin going down to the joint of the drumstick and the flat. And I cut into the joint just a little bit. Then I flip it over, cut the joint on the other side. Then I lay it flat and I connect the cut that I made on both sides. Then I go on to the flat and the wing tip. I do approximately the same thing, but the joints are different. So I just cut all the way around. Then I do a little smacky smack on the back of my knife, and that disconnects the wing tip and the wing flat. Now I'm gonna add my seasoning mixture to my wings, and you can find the recipe for my seasoning mixture on my blog. I only add a quarter of it at this point because I'm gonna be mixing, adding more, mixing, adding more. The main objective here while mixing your chicken wings is to get a very consistent color on your chicken wings. You want most of your chicken wings to actually, if not all of them, to actually be approximately the same color. And because we have some herbs and spices in here that actually change the color of the chicken wings, this should be a lot easier to tell just by the sight. At this point in the process, my chicken is close to being evenly coated with the seasoning mixture that I have. So I'm gonna go ahead and add 1 more quarter of that seasoning to my chicken to make sure that it's evenly coated on all pieces of the chicken. Now this is just for the look of it. What I'm gonna do next is for the flavor. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my wing tips, and I know people they normally throw these away, but I actually keep these and I actually eat these. I take my wing tips, I take about 2 or 3 of them, and these are kind of like precursors for me. What I do is I go ahead and cook my wing tips first, and then I'll taste them to make sure that all the seasonings that I added are good, all the flavors are good, and when it passes the test, I go ahead and add my chicken. So right here, I'm adding my chicken to my air fryer. I'm adding my chicken to my air fryer because my wing tips came out tasting exactly how I want them to taste. I seasoned them well enough for me to be happy with the next step. So now I'm gonna evenly place my chicken wings into my air fryer, and I'm gonna put them at 390 for 15 minutes or more, depending on how crispy you want the skin. Here's a pro tip. To get the most out of your air fryer when making chicken wings, make sure that your chicken wings are evenly spaced. You want that heated air to circulate throughout the inside of your air fryer. Sure, it may take a little bit longer, but you get a more consistent cook on your foods. So I'm adding my wing tips here. I'm trying to maximize the amount of chicken I'm making without overcrowding the air fryer. Now that I've added my wing tips, I'm gonna go ahead and close the lid, and through the magic of editing, this is what my first batch looks like. I'm gonna take these wings and put them into a bowl, and I'm gonna continue this throughout the rest of the cooking process for all of my wings. And now that I'm done with my wings, I'm gonna go ahead and add that spicy honey barbecue sauce to my wings inside of a large bowl. I'm gonna do a swirl, swirl, toss. And that's how I coat my wings with a sauce that I make. I do a swirl, swirl, toss, swirl, swirl, toss. and I didn't think that was enough sauce for them, so I'm gonna go ahead and add some more of our spicy honey barbecue sauce. And yes, I'm having trouble squeezing it out of the bottle. The nozzle is very small, and as you know, we added red pepper flakes to the sauce, so that more than likely was the problem, or it was my crippling anxiety that caused it to clog up. Now that we got the swirl toss thing going on, the wings are being coated with the spicy honey barbecue wing sauce, and they smell amazing. I couldn't resist myself, so I went ahead and reached in and grabbed me one of those drums. Make sure the camera saw it before it disappeared. Here's another interesting fact. I wasn't the one to even finish the wing. My wife took that wing from me after I took one bite, and she finished it for me. I'm sure she feels like a hero sometimes when she does things like that. By this time, my spicy honey barbecue wings were done, and my oven roasted squash and zucchini fries were complete. So I went ahead and plated them. Tell me what you think in the comments below.
There we have it, everybody. Another recipe down in the books. Our spicy honey barbecue wings with our oven roasted zucchini and squash. Hopefully you enjoyed watching me make it. It smells amazing. It looks amazing. I wonder if it tastes amazing. I'm just kidding. I already know. It tastes amazing. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more recipe videos. But until next time, I'm about to eat.